Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Warzone video. In this video we're going to compare the newly nerfed Bruen to the CR56. Most people think that the CR56 is going to take the #1 spot off the Bruen now that it's been nerfed, and we're going to compare the stats in this video so you can figure out which one is the best. Before we get into the details, we know 95% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you keep up to date with everything regarding Season 5, weapon balancings and weapon comparisons, and soon we'll be doing live streams. Now let's take a look at the stats for both the Bruen and the CR56 AMAX. On the screen here we have the updated stats for the Bruen, and this takes into consideration the last patch for the damage range nerf and also now the damage nerf. And what we see is that the Bruen has a headshot damage of 46, 42, 33, which has not changed at all, but the body damage has changed from 34, 28, 22 to 31, 28, 22. And this increases our close range time to kill to 553 milliseconds from 395 milliseconds. Now this change is huge because before the time to kill at close range was actually lower than the AMAX, and now it's higher than the AMAX. So that means the CR56 pretty much beats the Bruen at every range in terms of time to kill. And the CR56 also performs better in terms of damage range when you include the longest barrel with a monolithic suppressor. We weren't able to test any further than 52 meters, so those were the time to kill values we could get. The reload time for both of these guns are identical, however the Bruen does have the magazine capacity advantage at 60 rounds, and then of course the aim down sight speed with the CR56 is much quicker as it is an assault rifle. After taking a look at the stats for both of these guns, it's pretty clear that the CR56 has an advantage in terms of damage as well as range drop-offs. This has pretty much always been the case, especially after the previous nerf for the Bruen. The only significant change with the Bruen is the initial time to kill value at close range has increased. This was never the issue with the Bruen, as most people used SMGs at close range anyways. So the next thing we need to take a look into is comparing the recoil patterns for both of these guns. Before we do that, we actually need to go over the attachments we use to compare both of these guns. For the Bruen, we use the standard Bruen attachments, which is a summit barrel, the mono suppressor, the 60 round mags, the hollow sight, and the tac laser. For the CR56 we use the Zodiac barrel, the mono suppressor again, the 45 round mags, the Commando foregrip, and the hollow sight. We understand that you might not run exactly the same attachments as us, but we try to keep these tests fair to make sure we can compare both weapons. And overall these seem to be the most popular weapon attachments for both of the guns. Taking a look at the recoil pattern for both of these guns, at the very left we have the recoil with no attachments. Then down the middle we have the recoil with the attachments stated before, and then at the very right we have the recoil with the attachments but me trying to control them. The patch notes stated that they increased the recoil on the base Bruen, and they also stated that they increased the recoil on the 60 round mag attachment. And taking a look at the recoil pattern for the Bruen, it's very similar to the way it was before, and comparing it to the CR56, at base weapon I'd prefer the Bruen, however when you use the attachments the CR56 definitely seems to have the better recoil pattern. We only fired 45 rounds with the Bruen just to make sure it was a fair test to the CR56. And when trying to control the recoil for both of these weapons, you're still going to notice that the CR56 performs worse than the Bruen. The Bruen is still a really easy weapon to use. The first couple of shots on the CR56 tend to kick a lot more and then it grips a bit tighter after that, but the Bruen is still pretty much a laser. So overall with the Bruen, it is still a very viable gun. At longer ranges you will be missing a couple more shots than you used to, but you'll still be doing the same amount of damage at range. But at closer ranges you will see that it does take a little bit longer to kill your enemies. At closer ranges you should be using an SMG anyway, so you shouldn't notice this as a huge difference. That doesn't take away from the AMAX either. The AMAX still has one of the lowest time to kills in the entire game, and that's what makes it a really good gun. Now to finally answer the question of which one is better, I personally still think the Bruen is going to be the better gun here. It still performs really well at range, and now it's just going to be a bit more balanced. The same thing happened with the Grau. Even though the Grau got nerfed, it's still a great gun. And it still makes most top 10 lists. Just because it's not overpowered anymore doesn't mean it's not still a great option. If you're on console, I still recommend using the Bruen. If you're on keyboard and mouse and you're playing on PC, then try using the CR56 AMAX. It has a really low time to kill, and controlling that recoil will be much easier using a keyboard and mouse. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. We're trying to reach a goal of 100 likes on this video, and it will help YouTube recommend us more to more people. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as once we reach 5,000 subscribers, we're going to start live streaming on Twitch. That way you can see us work out weapon stats live, and you can also interact with us and ask us questions about any new weapons. But that's all for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.